What's good? What's good? What's good? If you missed sports last week, don't worry. I got you.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, Niners! All the talking heads that was like, the Lakers dead in the water. Listen, just shut up. Stop talking. If it fell in their lap, it fell in their lap, but they didn't chase it. Bam Adebayo chased it, and it looked disgusting. And the only team that picked the Patriots to win are people that were Patriots fans or people that just want to be antagonists just so that way they can drive any kind of traffic to their content.
Welcome back to Just Your Average Podcast, episode 5. If you've been here since the jump, I see you. Building something real here. It's Wednesday morning. You already know we're getting into it. Man, it's been such a long week I wasn't even able to shave, but I'm here though. I'm ready. Let's get into it. And before we get into anything, I need you to know this is going to be a long one. So sit back, grab something to drink, a snack, put it on the TV, clean the kitchen, do some laundry, play it in the background, do whatever you got to do. But this one right here, I got to get everything out. There's a lot going on this week, and I couldn't shortchange you, okay? So this is one of those weeks where I couldn't make up some of this stuff if I tried. It's been that wild. The NBA finished 2 playoff series, one where Anthony Edwards was shaking hands with the bench with 8 minutes left. The NHL had a game 7 that went into overtime. NBA had a game 7 that was over by the third quarter. The NFL is getting subpoenaed by a state attorney general, and they're being sued. MLB gave us legendary returns, a medical miracle, a retirement, and a meltdown in the Windy City. You got a tennis player that's winning everything while the whole world is screaming, he's on something. Angel Reese had 8 turnovers, and they lost by 1 point. Antonio Brown is still crashing out online. And somewhere in the middle of an NBA moment of silence, they cut to a gambling commercial. Now, that last one, I'm going to come back to that because there's a football story that ties directly back to that. And by the time I'm done, I want you guys to think about what it means to have gambling ads everywhere in sports right now. Every broadcast, every sports show, every timeout, every moment of silence, apparently. But we'll get there. This is May 13th through May 19th. Everything that happened, nothing skipped. Strap in. This is going to be a long one. Real quick, like, subscribe, share. Share to one person. Come on, one person. Thank you. I'll do it right now. Go do it, please. All right. Thank you. You didn't watch? That's fine. Don't worry. I got you. Let's get into it. You know we got to start with basketball, baby. So when we left off, Minnesota was down 3-2 to San Antonio Spurs. And guess what? Coming up on Game 6, we all hope that San Antonio wouldn't waste his opportunity to get it done. And guess what they do? They get it done. Got to take it back. I did not see San Antonio getting past this round. I really didn't. But I got to admit, man, Wemby is him, bro. He is just that good. He's that good. And this team is that good. The defensive prowess on this team is crazy, man. They went and took Minnesota out in 6 games, and granted, Minnesota wasn't fully healthy, but I don't think it would have mattered, to be honest with you. Wemby has arrived, and the NBA is on notice. He put them boys on notice, okay? But we do have to talk about Anthony Edwards, though. This is my guy. You know what I'm saying? I said last episode, this is my guy. And I really like Anthony Edwards. But dabbing up the Spurs bench with 8 minutes to go, I don't really like that look. You know what I mean? Now, to each his own. The game was pretty much over, but as we've seen, and we'll get back to that last night, the game is never over till it's over. But he probably just felt what everybody else felt. San Antonio is at the peak of his powers, and they're just too tough to beat right now. The NBA let them have it. You had people like Dirk Nowitzki calling him out, saying, you just don't do that. The talking heads are going to say what they want to say, but I like Anthony Edwards because he really don't give a damn, and he's going to do what he likes to do regardless. To me, it's not a good look, but hey, this dude make $50 million a year to play basketball. and we're criticizing what he does after his team obviously is getting their brakes beat off of them. You might not have done that in that situation, but you're not him, so whatever. On to the next. Cavaliers versus Pistons. Look, we left off. It was tied 2-2. We said game 7 in Detroit, and we got game 7 in Detroit. Now, it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go because I thought it was going to be home win, home win, home win, home win. And guess what? It went a little different. Cleveland wound up winning game 5 in Detroit. Then Detroit came back and won game 6 in Cleveland. And then Cleveland came back and won game 7 in Detroit. Blew them off the court. It was over. It was over. Cade, I mean, he carried them as far as he could. He had a horrible game 7. I don't think he made a three-pointer. I think he was like 0 for 9, 0 for 10 or something like that from the three-point line. They got bullied in the paint. And then at some point, they were just begging the refs for foul calls. They were just constantly like, yeah, give us a call. Come again. Flopping on the ground, flailing, looking at the refs. And then Cleveland is just up the court the other way, running up the court, going to shoot a three, getting to the paint, and just running the score up. I mean, I want to preface this with this. I always said that Cleveland was going to win in the second round. I had Cleveland going to the conference finals from when it started. It's just because Detroit, I felt like, beat up on a lot of bad teams. They were able to beat up on a lot of tanking teams. They got to 60 wins where I think they might have been a high 40, low 50 win team. But their 60 win first seed would then tell you that they are a better team than what they are. And what happens is they just weren't. And Jalen Duren, man, I think he lost himself a lot of money. Okay. This guy, their fans, they were not nice to this guy. Okay. Twitter drug him through the mud. Drug him through the mud. They don't want him back. But I mean, they can't let him just go for nothing. So they're gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to sign him to something. I would say sign him to the qualifying offer and then see if somebody tries to sign him and let them set the standard and then match an offer if one comes in for him. That's what I would do if I was Detroit. And then try maybe to do a signing trade if you don't feel like it's him. But he's young. You know, this is his first deep playoff run. Look, he can get better. If you feel like he's not that good, maybe you need to get better development guys in there in Detroit. But Tobias Harris, they said they want him back too. Okay. Okay. I mean, Tobias Harris over me? Look, I'm not going to dog Tobias Harris. He had one of the best playoff runs in his career since he was maybe like 27, 28. But he's 33 going on 34 now. He's not going to get more athletic. He's not going to get better later in the season. And so he kind of fell apart. And he was doing very well, and the age starts to catch up with you, man. Once you're that old and you're playing, 80, 90 games, those games start to catch up to you, and you just don't look as good as the younger guys. And that's what happens to Tobias Harris. So if they want a repeat of what they had last year, bring him back because it's going to happen again. It tends to happen with him a lot. They need shooters, The Malik Beasley thing, that screwed them. They lost a lot of their shooting this year, and they don't have really strong secondary scoring. And without that, K can't do it all. Okay, so good luck with that, Detroit. Have a great offseason, but it ended there. Okay, Cleveland on to the next round. And then there was the game ones of the NBA, and they did not disappoint. I tell you, the Western Conference Final was set, and game ones did not disappoint. Game 1 on the Western Conference Finals, you had double overtime. Wemby dropping 40 and 20. Ugh, disgusting. Nobody can shoot on both sides, okay? And it was an ugly game, but a beautiful game at the same time because the defense was great. It was scrappy. There was big shots made late. Wemby hit a 3 from the logo, pull up and transition that sent the game into double overtime. That was disgusting. 7-6, pull up from the logo. What? Anyways, San Antonio beat OKC in double overtime in game one. They're up 1-0 going into the game tonight. If OKC loses tonight, this is over with, okay? So they gotta get this dub. They have to. San Antonio has been owning them all season long, and they came out there that night. On the night that Shea got his MVP trophy, you had Wemby on the bench with Castle hyping him up saying, you the real MVP. You the best player in the world. Go show them who you really are. That should have been your trophy. He was hyping your boy up, and he went out there and he showed it. Because when it came down to it, Wemby outplayed Shea. And if both of the teams, I mean, Jalen Williams came back, he had 26. Caruso had 30 plus big points. I mean, he had the best game of his NBA playoff career. And they still lost because Wemby thoroughly outplayed Shea. He was the best player on the court, offensively and defensively. There was a stat that when Luke Cornett was on the court instead of Wemby, OKC was shooting like 70, 80% from the field. Wemby changed the game defensively, dude. Like, you change the game when your height changes every time somebody talks about you. Like, they were at the press conference. It was like, yeah, I mean, he's 8 feet tall. I mean, he's went from 7'5" to 7'6" to 7'10" to 8 feet tall. I bet the next person says 9 feet. I bet. It might say 10. But San Antonio goes up 1-0. They didn't even play their best game. De'Aaron Fox didn't even play in that game, and they still got the dub. So, OKC, what are you going to do? Okay? Is San Antonio really going to do this? Let me know in the comment section. If you're a San Antonio fan and you've been waiting for this, you've been waiting for this moment right here because it's been a while since y'all been back in that championship mode, Let me know you going for a walk on that river walk because y'all get this dub tonight. It's going to be a party in San Antonio tonight, baby. And then there was game one in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I did a little research, and it said that when teams have 5 to 9 days rest, and they are the higher seed facing lower seed with 1 to 2 days rest going into the conference finals, this team is 10-0 in game one. The average margin of victory is 6.8 points. So my mindset says the Knicks are going to win this game by 7 to 10 points. Simple. I mean, history, right? So we get into the game, and the New York Knicks offense that was so potent was gone. Absolutely gone for 40 minutes, about 40 minutes. Now I say 42 minutes. When I tell you that Cleveland was up 22 points with 7:40 something left, and New York Knicks came back and won that game. The coach for Cleveland did not call a timeout until there was 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So they went almost 4 minutes of game time where the lead went from 22 down to about 10 points without calling a timeout. James Harden got absolutely cooked. They were hunting him on the offensive end. It was like their offense wasn't working. And so they said, you know what? Let's scrap all this stuff. Jalen Brunson, I'm going to go ISO with James Harden for the rest of the game. If he's not on me, we're going to bring his guy over here to run a screen so he can get on me. If he doesn't switch on to me and he stays with his guy, I'm going to pass it to that guy and let him attack James Harden. That's all they did for the last 8 minutes. They did that over and over and over and over. And the coach never took James Harden out the game. Cleveland was obviously completely gassed. They didn't call a timeout. Donovan Mitchell didn't step in and take over because just as bad as they were defensively, they scored, I think, 8 points in the last, or maybe 11 points, 10, somewhere. They didn't score enough points, okay? That's what I'm saying. Their offense went to shit. Like, they did not score any points in the last 7 minutes and then 5 minutes of overtime. This was the game where if you were trying to steal this series, if you're Cleveland, This was a must-win game. You had them down 22. They didn't have anything figured out. And they just said, you know what? We're going one. Brunson, like, give me the ball, get out the way. We're going to run this over and over and over and over and over and over until they stop it. And Cleveland didn't stop it. Not only did they stop it, they didn't score. And so this series, New York is up 1-0, and it's not looking good for Cleveland. I think they're going to be done in 5. After losing this game, this was the game for me. If they want to extend the series to 6 or 7 and give themselves a real chance of winning, that's what they're going to have to do last night, and they didn't do it. So good luck to Cleveland. I never had them making the finals. I had whoever they were playing against making the finals. But look, kudos to them for making it a game, because I thought New York was going to blow them out from the get-go. They fought. They made it a game. They wound up losing. Donovan Mitchell went to there and said, hey, look, we fucking blew it. You know, it is what it is. We lost one game. They won one game at home. Whatever. On to the next. So that's what we're going to do. On to the next. So let's clean up some stuff in the NBA that's not actually on the court. Milwaukee Bucks are officially open for business with the Giannis trade. They are accepting any and all calls. This is it. Best bet is that he goes to Miami, but anybody could come through. I would tell you one thing. I don't think he fits with the Lakers. I'm a Laker fan. I don't want him with the Lakers at all. I do not want him and Luka Doncic built together. The fit just does not match. Giannis needs the ball in his hand to be productive. And if you're going to take the ball out of his hand, why pay somebody $50 million, $60 million a year to not be the person that you're bringing in? Luka and Giannis both have to have the ball to be effective. They're not off-ball players. I do not like the fit at all. And if you're a Laker fan, you shouldn't like it either. You shouldn't like the fit of a 30-plus-year-old guy that's often injured, that cannot shoot the ball outside of 18 feet consistently, coming to your team, and then they're fighting for the ball to see who could be more effective off ball, when that's neither one of their games. That's just me. Luka Doncic is skipping out on the Slovenian national team. He's going to go ahead and just go home and deal with the custody battle with him and his ex. Look, I bet the Lakers are happy in the sense that he's not playing more basketball, and just for how it would look to Laker fans, not playing in a postseason, but then going to play for your national team, it would kind of be a slap in the face. Now, I wouldn't care, honestly, to be honest with you. But I bet the Lakers are secretly happy that this guy is not playing more basketball over the summer. So the MVP news. Now, Shea did win his back-to-back MVP. The NBA was up in arms because Shams reported this maybe early or whatever it may be. Shams fired back and he was like, look, my job is to report the news. The earlier I report the news, the more money I make, okay? That's my job. I'm supposed to drop stuff before it's dropped, all right? That's what I do. And so they was mad because I guess nobody had ever done that before. I don't fucking know. But look, the NBA players cry about everything, bro. Calm down. I guess somehow Prime was supposed to announce it, so the NBA might have been upset that Shams did it, because Shams like, I don't work for you. I work for ESPN. I don't work for the NBA. I deliver the news. The quicker I deliver it, the more money I make. Come on. What are we talking about here? And so everybody's upset except Shea. Shea doesn't care. He's out there in trench coats giving his team golf clubs. I don't even know if they golf, but anyways, Shams, keep doing what you do. Drop that heat. Don't worry about what these haters talking about. You making that money. Philadelphia finally did something good. Daryl Morey is gone. They fired him. Good riddance. It was a shit show over there. Do you hear me? I mean, this guy actually gave Embiid $200 million over 3 years. What? Coach in front office choosing the GM. I mean, what is that GM going to do with Embiid's contract? Paul George's contract? I mean, you might as well let Daryl Morey stay there for the next couple of years and just veto his trades. Anyways, Philadelphia's a shit show. We'll see what happens with them. I don't expect them to be winning anything anytime soon. And Pelicans did sign a new head coach. They signed Mosley to be their new head coach. So we'll see how that plays out. Another defensive-minded coach getting the job, and hopefully he builds out his assistant coach with some offensive prowess, because you're going to need it with teams like OKC and San Antonio playing the defense they play in the Western Conference. Also, a couple things in the WNBA. Shout out to the girls. The Connecticut Sun are thinking about moving their team to Houston. Now, as me being in Houston, I'm saying the more sports teams, the better. I bring them on. I mean, I don't watch WNBA, to be perfectly honest with you, but Houston could use more stuff, I guess. Heard Brittany Griner plays for the Suns. She's coming back to Houston, I guess. Hey, she's from here, right? Also, I got to talk about this Angel Reese thing. There was a game the other night where I think they played against Vegas or something. They lost by 1 point. But Angel Reese had 8 turnovers, 8 points, and she was like 1 for 10 from the field. And this was the girl that was just like saying that she was on the same level as Caitlin Clarke and that she was just as good and that people watched the game for her just as much as they watched it. No, 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 no. This is over. Angel Reese, you've been in the league for 2 years and you already got traded. That tells you something, right? Go look at what Caitlin Clarke is doing. Coming off an injury, I think she scored like 25 points in her first 3 games, plus 5 assists. The first player to do that in the WNBA history. I'm talking about she's setting records. While she's setting records on a positive trend, you're setting records as being one of the worst girls in the WNBA. The only reason why I think you're still in the WNBA is because you sell tickets, okay? You're the Calvin Cambridge right now of the WNBA. And it's sad to say, because this is what happens when you go and you want to have a platform and you want to have a podcast, but you're a WNBA player begging for more money, for millions of dollars for people to come and watch you play. When you're going 1 for 10 from the field, can barely hit free throws, barely can get double-digit rebounds, and you turn the ball over like crazy. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you guys. I'm not. But when this is your spokesperson, come on, man. Angel Reese, bruh, you got about 2 more years. You won't be in the WNBA. So collect the money while you got it, because your brother might have a longer career in professional sports than you. And that's saying a lot when you compare your college careers, right? Now, there's a little snippet from WNBA. We're not going to be talking too much about it, but I just had to say that. I ain't going to lie. I told you at the top of the show we was going to come back to this story, so here we are. The NBA was holding a moment of silence for Brandon Clarke from the Memphis Grizzlies. And the second they said that, they cut immediately to a gambling ad. Like, immediately. No pause, no buffer, straight to commercial. I know what the easy take is: production error, scheduling glitch. Nobody meant for that to happen. We're going to talk to whoever did that, that kind of thing. And maybe that's all true. Maybe it was an accident. I'll give them that. But here's my problem with leaving it just there. The only reason why this accident can happen is because this sports betting thing is so saturated into everything sports that it's just bound to happen, right? I mean, it occupies every slot in the broadcast. There's so many of them, so many stacked so tightly together, running at every timeout, at every break. There was going to be one that eventually landed somewhere where it shouldn't. You can't run gambling ads at the density that they run gambling ads and not expect it to end up in a wrong place, like a moment of silence, maybe at some point. The sheer volume that they do this in makes this kind of accident almost inevitable. This isn't one bad call, guys. This is what we've accepted as background noise in sports at this point. So I want you to hold that thought, because there's a story out in college football this week that actually has direct context to what I'm talking about right here. So there's a college player, his whole career is in limbo, not because of grades or injury or anything, but because of gambling addiction. He's supposed to be right now, building towards his football career, but right now he's in rehab and he's stuck in a situation that could cost him everything because he got caught in a gambling ecosystem that is buying every commercial slot for every sport that you watch. Think about who that marketing is targeting: sports betting apps, prop platforms, DraftKings, FanDuels, prediction markets. Their target demographic is young men between 18 and 24. That is the most statistically vulnerable age to any type of gambling addiction. And that's exactly who's watching college sports, playing college sports, consuming college sports. They're the ones who's being shown ads before, after, during every sport thing that they watch. The access to it is designed to be frictionless. Download the app, 30 seconds. Fund it with your debit card. First bet is free. Hell, we'll give you $5. We'll give you $50, even if you miss. The marketing is making it feel like it's just a part of sports. Like betting is another way to engage with the sports that you love. And somewhere in the middle of all that normalization, this college player got addicted to it. And now his career hanging in a thread. And in the same week, a gambling ad is cut in the middle of a moment of silence. Now, I'm not here to tell you that gambling should be illegal. I'm not here telling you that adults can't make their own choices. What I'm saying is we need to stop treating these like isolated events and understanding the true origin of the problem. When gambling ads outnumber every other source in sports broadcasting, when they're running in moments of silence, when college players are developing addictions to the same products that's been marketing to them, to their demographic, that is a pattern, not a glitch, not an accident, a pattern. The NBA owes Brandon Clarke a better memory than a cut to a gambling ad. And that college player, he deserves an environment that wasn't trying to sell him on gambling before he was old enough to ever understand what addiction looked like from the inside. Both things happened in sport this week. Both. Same week, same storyline. This just had to be said out loud. Also, Jason Kidd got fired. And just to be honest, anybody that had anything to do with that Luka trade, they deserve to be fired. All right. Look, Jason Kidd, I feel like he may have gotten, a bad rap in this situation. It's not really his fault that they kind of suck as a basketball team right now, but I guess you just take the blame in this situation. So Masai must want somebody else in there, and whoever that is, I have zero clue who they're going for. If you know, drop it down in this comment section. Let me know who you think is going to be the next coach at the Dallas Mavericks. Who's coaching Cooper Flag? NBA was all over the place this week, but it was more about who cemented their place. San Antonio cementing their place. New York Knicks cementing that this is their year. Several players stepping up, showing us they're ready for their moment. Wemby, Jalen Brunson, and other players that are stepping down, that are saying maybe they're not ready for this. Shea? James Harden? That's all I got for the NBA. We on to the NFL, baby. Blue 42. Blue 42. 52's the mic. 52's the mic. Here we go. All right. So let's jump into the NFL right now. So first off, the NFL got some legal issues, but the NFL don't really lose negotiations. So we'll see how these end. They found themselves in two different situations. One, they're currently facing a lawsuit on how they distribute their games. Now, I won't get into the long legal jargon and everything because I'll make another separate video about that if you want to know. But essentially, because it functions as the content creator and the gatekeeper to distributing the content, it creates a competition where everything is unfairly limited. Just in layman terms, because they own everything, they dictate to where it's being shown and how it's being shown and how much it costs to be seen, with no competition and no pushback, because they own not only the content but how it's being distributed. They wanted to be able to negotiate with these people directly, as a whole, not individual teams with these individual broadcasting networks. But being able to do that at that time was easier because they were bidding against each other, just 3 or 4 networks. But now they're bidding against powerhouses like Amazon and Peacock and some of these billion-dollar corporations where, and Netflix, where ABC and NBC and these companies just can't compete with that. And because the NFL owns the right to everything, they basically are putting these guys in a bidding war that they can't win, and it's making us suffer as a fan, because now if you want to watch your favorite team, you got to have 6 different streaming apps to do it, and it just sucks. And so there's a lawsuit going on for that, but I don't think too much is going to come out of it because NFL typically wins lawsuits like this, or they'll just pay for it to go away like they typically do. And on top of that, the Florida Attorney General is getting his hold on, they canceled DEI moment on right now because he's not happy with the Rooney Rule. Okay, he's saying you should not have to interview minorities if they're not qualified. Essentially, that's what he's saying. And this Rooney Rule has been in place for so long that why now? You know what I'm saying? Like, why now? The NFL did go in because this guy sent in a complaint. So the NFL went into the Rooney Rule and they reworded it to where it doesn't say, minorities. It just, kind of generalize it. He sends back and says, oh, we're so glad that the NFL, acted so swiftly in changing their wording in this, but we still have more questions. Dude, calm down, man. DEI is not going to go away everywhere. There's going to be some places that still do it. All right? Chill, bro. And the NFL is not having that. So you can chirp all you want to, but the NFL, they're trying to back their shield. And if their shield says we're all inclusive, guess what? Their interviews are going to be all inclusive. All right? So to that guy, pipe down, brother. Pipe down, brother. On another note, we got some stuff going on with these NFL quarterbacks that had some stuff to say. All right. Let's start off with Joe Burrow. He said, and I quote, "We have everything we need." End quote. All right, Joe Burrow, you have everything you need. So what does that mean? Does that mean book it? Bengals to the Super Bowl? All right. Because if you have everything you need, there's no excuses this year. There's no excuses. You got to stay healthy. You can't take sacks. You got to win games. And since you said you got the defense now, you can't blame it on them this year. It's on you, Joe Burrow. Y'all don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's all on you because you said you had enough this year. On to the next quarterback. Anthony Richardson. Look, I don't understand why the Colts drafted him that high. The dude was a project. He was raw. Yes, he is very athletic. Just from a physical specimen, he's great for football, but he's not a good quarterback. I mean, he never has been a good quarterback. And he is saying now that it's a blessing to be able to play football. Yes, it is. It's a blessing to be able to show up and play football. If you're the backup, just be the backup, bro. Like, just be the backup. Be ready for your moment because quarterbacks get hurt. And as they go to a 17-game season now, and they're going to move to an 18-game season, and they're going to be more international games, and now they're playing on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. The quarterback is going to get hurt. You're going to get another chance, and just be ready, okay? Just do that, okay? All right. Aaron Rodgers didn't really say much, but he did go back. He did go back to Pittsburgh, and we all knew that this was pretty much coming. And look, Pittsburgh is just, they don't like losing. They don't like being at the bottom. And so that's the reason why they brought Aaron Rodgers back. Because to me, they should not bring him back. They should play any quarterback they can, and they should try to suck. But they do have a lot of defensive veterans on that squad that they just don't want to do that to. And so instead of trading those guys away to teams where they could possibly win, they're going to put themselves through another season of Aaron Rodgers where they'll win no more than 9 games and they'll be out in the first round of the playoffs if 9 games gets them in this year. That's just all I got to say about that. And then Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, again, chooses not to show up for voluntary workouts. And look, this is all I'm going to say. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. There's guys like Tom Brady. The reason why he won at the level that he won is because he was absolutely starving to win. Okay? He was a maniac. He was a maniac for football. He ate, slept, breathed, shit, football. Every opportunity he could. The reason why he won in Tampa Bay because he voluntarily got his team together on the outside and ran plays. He didn't wait. Okay? Lamar Jackson, he's great. I don't care. He's going to go down as being one of the greats. But Michael Vick went down as being one of the greats and he never won. Okay? You can be one of the great quarterbacks that never won. But if you want to win, you're going to have to really commit to football. I don't think he's ever going to do it. If he never shows up to voluntary workouts, not saying they'll never win a championship if he doesn't, but that's just one step of changing your every year routine of trying to get better. If you haven't won yet, maybe you should add something to your routine. Maybe you should do something slightly different. Maybe some of the stuff these winning quarterbacks are telling you to do or they have done, maybe you should try doing that. And until then, until you do that, I'm out on Lamar Jackson as a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I just am. You got a new coach. You got a new offensive coordinator. You got new all this, and you decide not to be there at voluntary workouts to get ahead. What you gonna use the first? You don't play preseason games. What you gonna use the first 2, 3, 4 games to try to get into rhythm? And by then, you lost a couple of games. And by the end of the season, now you need games so you can get into the playoff. Where if you would have just shown up to voluntary workouts, you would have been more in the rhythm. You would have started your season a little bit faster. And in that way, you know what? Why am I spending this much time on him? He's a loser. On to the next. We got a lot of off-field chaos, okay? Not a lot, but just some stories that I want to dig into. First off, we have your boy Rashee Rice. Violation of probation. Rashee Rice had surgery in his knee a week ago, and then he just violated his probation because he failed a drug test, tested positive for THC. Now he has to go to jail for 30 days where he's going to miss mandatory camp with the Chiefs. I'm not saying that this is going to be the reason they win or don't win or whatever it may be. All I'm saying is that this is a distraction. It is. And this guy has been a constant distraction. He has. And for somebody that's on probation, that's in the NFL, that makes all this kind of money, that knows he can't do drugs, decides to do it anyway. That says somebody that's just not learning their lesson. He just isn't. And if he's going to keep putting himself in this position over and over and over and over, Kansas City got to let him go. They have to let him go. I mean, he's not learning, okay? And I'm not saying weed is a bad thing. I'm not saying smoking is a bad thing, whatever it may be. But you're on probation, bro, for driving recklessly in a crash and hitting people on a freeway. Now you're on probation for it. You got off kind of lucky with that. You get probation, and all you got to do is stay off the weed. And you can't do that. So NFL must not be that important to you when you are risking violating your probation when you know they're going to test you. Hey, do with that as you will, all right? Malik Neighbors has surgery again on his knee again, second surgery. This is supposed to be Malik Neighbors' breakout season. I have the New York Giants as an underdog to go from zero to hero this year. They're going to need him. All right. I don't know what this does for his timeline and how soon he's going to get back, but this is huge for New York Giants. Devon A-Chain got paid. Got paid. 4 years, $68 million. That money. Miami is going to suck, but they got to spend that money somewhere. Devon A-Chain got it. That's the one benefit of being on a bad team. You can be on a bad team, but they got to spend the money somewhere. So if you're a good player on a bad team, normally you get the big bucks. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Bro, the NFL did him dirty. He won Offensive Player of the Year. They sent him a trophy that said Defensive Player of the Year. Not only did it say Defensive Player of the Year, but it looked like they tried to change defensive and change the D to an O and then change the E to an F or try to make it offensive. And then the words the year were together. So it was like the year. It's like, dude, you couldn't take the time to get my trophy right? That's disrespectful, bro. That's disrespectful, bro. Come on, NFL. You making all this money, billions of dollars. You can't get this right? An award? Sheesh, come on, man. The Patriots find themselves back into the news with one of their rookies being charged with domestic assault and battery. Yeah. Nashville, Tennessee gets the Super Bowl in 2030. Minnesota is getting the NFL draft in 2028. The Netflix series Quarterback, Jalen Daniels and Baker Mayfield, along with Joe Flacco and somebody else, I forget. It's going to be a good series, maybe. I got to catch that. The league just keeps building that brand, even when they got all these legal troubles. They just don't care. They keep pushing. They don't care. Give me the money. Give me the money. I'm going to take this time because we had the NFL schedule drop, and I want to take this time to go over my top 5 weeks of NFL football. 2, I want to quickly go over the 49ers schedule and basically tell you how I think it plays out. And then 3, I want to go over some of the nuances of the entire schedule and some things that, some fun facts about this year coming up. Let's start off with the obvious. Week 1, you have Super Bowl rematch, Patriots versus Seahawks, 49ers versus the Rams in Australia, Bills versus Texans, starting off with a good one there. You get the Cowboys and the Giants on Sunday Night Football, and then Broncos and Chiefs on Monday Night Football. It's a pretty good week right there. And then we got week 7. You get Patriots and Bears on Thursday Night Football. You get Steelers and Saints international game early morning. My 49ers play the Falcons. That should be a really good game. Bengals and the Ravens early game. Colts, Vikings, Chiefs, Seahawks Sunday Night Football. Cowboys, Eagles Monday Night Football. Another good week. Week 12, that's a good one. So we have a Wednesday night game, Packers versus the Rams. This is our Thanksgiving week, so we get 3 Thanksgiving games. Bears and the Lions, Eagles and the Cowboys, Chiefs and the Bills. This Thanksgiving lineup is, thank you, NFL. Thank you. Then you get a Friday game, Broncos and Steelers. Just throw another one on there for you, right? You get Giants and Colts on Sunday, and then Sunday Night Football, Patriots and Chargers. Bring your popcorn. Week 15, 49ers at Chargers, Thursday Night Football. Seahawks, Eagles, Saturday Football. Bears, Bills, Saturday Football. Ravens and Steelers on Sunday. Lions and Vikings on Sunday. Patriots and Chiefs, Monday Night Football. It gets good. Week 16, Christmas Eve, Texans and Eagles. Okay, let's go. Christmas Day, Packers and Bears, Bills and Broncos, Rams and Seahawks. The NFL is not playing around, okay? They are, they throwing haymakers, okay? That's what I like. And then that Sunday, you got 49ers and Chiefs. Let's go, baby. And those are my 5 must-watch weeks of football. If you don't watch any other weeks, you got to watch those 5 weeks. Do it. You won't regret it. Okay, so let's go into a quick dive into the 49ers schedule. We got Rams Dolphins, Cardinals. Broncos, Seahawks, Commanders. Falcons, Raiders, Cowboys. Vikings, Seahawks again. Giants, Rams again. Chargers, Chiefs, Eagles, Cardinals again. Let me break this down into sections. You have 4 must-win games. Raiders, Dolphins, both games against the Cardinals. You got to win all 4 of those. Giants, Falcons, Vikings. Out of those 3, you got to win 2 or 3. That would put you at 6-1 in those 7 games. You got 10, what I would say, tough games. 2 games against the Seahawks, 2 games against the Rams. Cowboys, Eagles, Washington, New York Giants. You'll play them late in the season, so they'll be a lot better. Chiefs and Chargers, 10 games. Your goal is to go 500 or better in those games, which would be 5-5. You add 5-5 onto 6-1, you go 11-6. So those 3 games in the middle where you need to go 2-1, those are very important games. Those might be more important than those 10 other games, right? Because if you go 0-3 in those games, you pretty much don't have a chance. It doesn't even matter if you go 5-5 in those games, because if you go 0-3 in those, then you're going to be 4-3, and then you'll go 9-8, which means you got to overperform, meaning you got to have to go 6-4 just to get 10 wins, or 7-3 to get 11 wins. All right. If you want to get anything over 11 wins, will let me know how serious you are of a contender. That's the schedule. It's broken down very easily for the 49ers. Okay? You go 4-0 in the gimmies. You go 2-1 or better in the 3 middling games. You go 5-5 in the other 10 or better. You're in the playoffs and you got a chance. That's it. Very simple. On the back end, RIP to Charlie Young, helped the 49ers win their very first Super Bowl. He played 13 years in the NFL, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks. And like I said, he was an integral part of the 49ers winning their first Super Bowl in 1981. NFL legend gone, never forgotten. RIP. Moment of silence. That's how you do it, NBA. And here are some just weird quirks about the schedule this year. The 49ers will break the record for the most traveling miles in an NFL season ever. The trip to Australia probably helps them a lot with that, but it doesn't help that they're on the West Coast, as far west as you could possibly go. And they have a lot of East Coast games this year. They're projected at 38,105 miles, and they're going to travel across 58 time zones. In comparison, you have the Panthers, who are traveling a combined 8,000 miles. 8,740 to be exact. From Carolina, they won't go west of Minnesota or east of Philadelphia. They'll change time zones 6 times through the entire season. It shows you the difference. The LA Rams, all over the calendar, 7 prime time games. That is 7 out of 17. I'm no mathematician, but if I had to just guess, it's probably somewhere between 39 and 41%. They also play 1 game on 5 different days of the week. A Sunday game, a Monday game, a Wednesday game, a Thursday game, and a Saturday game. Go figure. First time in the NFL Super Bowl era that they'll have 2 Wednesday night games in the same season. The NFL wants every single day of the week, okay? They want every day. The Jaguars will host back-to-back international games. And they'll be the first team that will host back-to-back home games. Now, they were there last year, back-to-back, but one of them weren't considered home games. But week 5 and week 6 of this year, they'll be there. They'll both count as home games. You might as well call them the London Jaguars at this point. Duval. The NFL loves the Chicago Bears. They got 5 primetime games. They're going to be on TV. So if you like, you're going to be able to see a lot of it. Also, while Chicago is going to be on TV a lot, the number 1 pick, Mendoza, No primetime games for the Vegas Raiders, baby. None. So you're going to have to pay some money if you want to see Mendoza play this year. And for the second year back-to-back, Cam Ward gets no love either. No national TV games for Tennessee Titans. Sorry, it sucks to suck. Every team in the AFC North is going international except the Browns. You don't need your passports this year. They don't want to see you on TV out there, I guess. They just the Browns, man. I'm glad I'm not a Browns fan. Oh, and this is another thing. Over the past 4 years, every Bengals and Ravens game was prime time. It was a night game. This year, they get no night games. They're both at 1 o'clock p.m. We get to see them during the day. I love it. Also, the NFL said, look, the Bengals, y'all haven't been doing what we need y'all to do. So we pulling back the night games from y'all. Y'all first 7 games are at 1 o'clock. All right. You don't get night games until November. The NFL must be very optimistic about Patrick Mahomes and his recovery because they have a lot of early season primetime games. They go back to back week 1 and week 2 primetime. So maybe they know something we don't. But that's about all for the NFL. I know it was a lot happened. I had a lot to get to, but I wanted to get through it all. Here's the thing about the NFL offseason. It never stops, baby. Even though you might hit these dry spells, it just keeps going and going and going, story after story after story. There's no quiet period, no slow week, all right? There's always something, always something. That's it, and we're on to the next, baby. Let's jump into the NHL because we had a lot of stuff going on off the ice, but I want to quickly dive into what happened on the ice as well. When we left off, Vegas was up 3-2, and they went ahead and they wanted to finish that series out. 4-2. They went ahead and sent Anaheim home, and got to give a round of applause for Anaheim for just sticking in there. I did say the last episode that I saw them kind of running out of gas, and that's kind of what happened because Vegas took care of them nice and handily in Game 6. They stopped playing with their food, and they're on to the conference finals as we expected, right? Also, Canadians, baby, back-to-back Game 7 wins on the road. Oh, my goodness. Dude, look, Canadians, man, a lot of people said they weren't taking them seriously and that they couldn't take them seriously if they didn't get legitimate goalie play. Look, the rookie is doing it, man. The rookie is doing it. He had a horrible Game 6, but a lot of rookies would have let that bleed into Game 7. He didn't let that happen. He did not let it happen. You got to give kudos to the Canadians. They're pressing fast forward on their timeline, baby. They're like the San Antonio Spurs. They're like, we here now. We're ready right now, okay? They're not waiting. They're taking out some, I'm talking about powerhouses. Can they do it again? Can they do it again? Look, I'm not giving them a chance, okay? I'm really not. But how can you count them out, right? How can you count them out? They're doing the impossible right now. They're doing the impossible right now. They really are. Back-to-back Game 7 wins on the road and against two powerhouses, being the underdog in both series. I don't know. I love the run. I love to see it. It's great hockey. It's great for TV. It's just all around great, okay? I'm loving it. All right. Game 7, overtime. Oh my goodness. That shot, look, I don't think he even think that he was gonna make that shot. He was just like, I gotta take it. I gotta take this. I don't know how far that was. Somebody drop in the comments how far that was away. Cause look, I'm telling you, bruh just took it. It was more like, let me just get it on the net and maybe my guy could kind of get a rebound and put it back in or something like that. He just put it out there and it went in, and it was a prayer that was answered. And the Canadians are on to the next round. Kudos to them. Shout out. Now, Vegas will play Colorado tonight in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, okay? Canadians and Hurricanes are going to play tomorrow. The Hurricanes haven't lost a game. The Canadians have knocked out 2 powerhouses. How does that shape up? Vegas has underperformed, but wound up winning the 2 series they were supposed to win. But they kind of let those teams hang around. Colorado dominated, have only lost 1 game up to this point. This has been a collision course, Colorado versus Carolina. That's what they've been on. Can the Canadians stop that? Can Vegas rise to the occasion and actually play the hockey that they've been playing as of lately? The better hockey, not the hockey that kind of is playing down to competition now that they need to play up. Can they get consistent good games and not have that letdown like they have been having? Me, honestly, I want to see Carolina versus Colorado. I don't want to see anything else. I want to see these 2 teams go at it, okay? But if we happen to have an upset, I'm all for the underdog. Best and believe that. Best and believe that. We got a good game coming on tonight. The NHL playoffs are here. You got the NBA one night, NHL other night. And look, only having 1 game a night, I can actually watch some sports now. Like having to watch 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my goodness. Only one game. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. This is the best. This is the best. Now some off the court stuff. All right. So I gotta mention that McNabb did get suspended from Vegas for 1 game, and they still won. Okay. Hard hit. He got suspended, but it didn't make any difference. They still wound up getting the dub. Now, we did get some coaches that were fired. This is the time of year where coaches get fired. Toronto fired their head coach. The Oilers fired their head coach. Thought Sheldon Keefe was going to be gone, but he returns as the Devils head coach. The Canucks made a change in the GM office. They brought in the Twins. I'll be honest, not a structure you typically see in professional sports. They're brothers. They actually play for the team, and they're twins. That's a cool little fun fact for the NHL. Vancouver going in a genuinely, different route here. We'll see if it works. Oh, they also fired their coach, Foote. He got fired as well. Sources say they got 6 candidates to replace him. Yeah, that's a lot. Vegas, for all the good things they've been doing on the ice, off the ice, they've been having a little bit of trouble, okay? So after game 6, when they won, they were in such a rush to not get left, I guess, that they didn't stay for their post-game press conferences. And this is something I didn't know about NHL. They were fined $100,000 and a second-round pick for missing out on the media, okay? That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. I did not know that I did not know that could happen. You learn something new every day. That is crazy. A second round pick for not showing up. Wow. Wow. Okay. That wouldn't hurt. That wouldn't hurt. On top of that, Vegas is doing this thing where they fired their coach right before the playoffs, right? And they're trying to stop him from interviewing with other teams. I don't understand how that works. Yeah, I don't. But the NHL is saying like, nah, you can't do that. Like you can't do that. So that coach has filed a grievance because he's like, look, I'm trying to get a job here and they're holding me hostage. So that's that. And look, I don't blame them. I'm trying to get paid here before all these coaching jobs are filled, right? Like Vegas got too much stuff going on. I mean, I understand it's Vegas, but I don't know if maybe all this stuff will be the eventual downfall because it got so much noise going on around them. While Colorado is just playing ball, they're just they're just hooping, baby. Maybe that winds up being their downfall, that they just have a lot too much going on to overcome. Award for NHL. Schaefer, unanimous decision on the Calder Award, best rookie in NHL And the unanimous part, it tells you everything you need to know. When every voter agrees, there's no conversation to be had. He was the best. He is the best. Look out for your boy. Playoff hockey is the best sport ever. I've said this numerous times, especially when you get a game 7. In a game 7 overtime, yeah, everything you built from October all come down to one 20-minute session. That's just lovely, baby. In Montreal, they came out on top not once but twice in this postseason run. Oh man, it's gonna be beautiful. Do they got a chance against? Do they got a chance? And with that being said, that's going to end our hockey session. Drop some pucks in the comments if you want more hockey, baby. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, you already know. On to the next. Okay, baseball. Baseball, baseball, baseball. Week we come in here and we talk baseball, and as we know, there's so many games. We can't really go in specifically to the games and say what happens. There's too much. But what we do is we give you a landscape of where the league is at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go division by division and tell you where each division lands at that moment. I'm going to tell you who's batting really good right now, who's pitching really good right now, and then things to look out for and things like that. Any news, any big stories, and other than that, we try not to make baseball that big of a section because we all know it doesn't really get good until September. But in the meantime, we got baseball fans that want to know what's going on, and so we'll dive into that. Okay, let's start with the ALEs. As we know, the Rays, Yankees it's just them versus everybody. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Orioles, they're all 6 to 7 games under 500 at this point. They're not in a division race anymore. They're in a survival race. They're playing for wild card positioning while Tampa Bay and the New York Yankees are playing for this division. And as we know, the Rays, they're just doing this playing small ball. They don't have a massive payroll or anything like that. They just keep playing hard, showing up, and it's turning into wins. Garrett Cole is supposed to be coming back for the Yankees. That should be a big boost for them. But I don't see Tampa just handing over this division back to the Yankees. They're going to have to come back and take this. Once this heats up later on in the season, the race for this division winner is going to be must-watch TV. The NL East. Atlanta is just treating this division like an exercise at this point. Braves are just playing great baseball right now, and the division just cannot keep up. The Phillies, they've been keeping themselves afloat. They've turned their season around ever since they fired their manager. We've been keeping an eye on them, but they're just not good enough to keep up with them right now. In Washington, they get a win every now and then, but they're not constantly stacking wins like you would want somebody to do that's trying to chase Atlanta right now. And then you got the Mets and the Marlins. I mean, yeah, the Mets have been playing a lot better. I think they're 7-3 in their last 10. So they're playing better, but Atlanta's 7-3 in their last 10 too. So they're not making up any ground. Atlanta's operating their own tier, and everybody else is just there for the ride at this point. NL Central, still the most competitive division in baseball. Every team is still 500 or above. Pittsburgh being at the bottom, they're 500. The Brewers, they are smoking. They lead this division. Then the Cardinals, and then the Cubs. Cubs been in a little bit slumped. They've lost 4 in a row. This has never happened before in National League history, not this late in the season. So kudos to them. Every game in this division matters. Every series between these teams, it feels like a playoff series because the games matter that much between them. Milwaukee is in a series with the Cubs right now, and they've won the first 2 games, and it hasn't even looked close. At the same time, I can't really say who's going to win this division, and that's what makes it so great. This division is great. They're playing great baseball, and one team can go on a streak, and another team can go on a streak, and another team can go on a streak, but at the end of the day, they're all still over 500. So, yeah, that's that. Now, let's talk about the AL West, because this division is basically a problem, okay? They've accomplished something that's truly remarkable. You have the Central, whose every team is 500 or above. There's nobody over 500 in this division. Zero teams over 500. The A's, they're the division leaders, but they're one game under 500, so that's not saying much. The Rangers, the Mariners, the Astros, the Angels suck. All losing teams. The entire division is a collective negative in run differential. I'm talking about every single team negative. This is what we call a race to the bottom. Any team that finds themselves like 5-2 in the week, they find themselves at the top of this division. And they're going to get a home game in the playoff. Oh my goodness. All right. So a few stories I want to dive into in the MLB. First off, Tariq Skubal looking good already. Dude is 2 weeks removed from surgery, and they're saying he might be back earlier. That guy he's a monster, okay? Meanwhile, down south, Atlanta Braves, they've been playing as good without Acuna Jr., and he's coming back. Yeah, this team is already playing good, and they're about to get better. That is not a good sign. That is not a good sign for everybody else. Gio Urshela retires. Yes. Happy retirement to you, sir. You do it whenever you feel like it. Whenever you feel like I got no more in me, go ahead and just walk away. You don't got to finish the season. You don't got to finish the game. We've seen it in the NFL. Guys will quit at halftime. They don't care. And you know what? I don't care either. If you feel like I'm a detriment to this team and it's better if I don't play another snap, go ahead and walk away. Kudos to you, my man. Yo, Pete Crow Armstrong. That dude went ballistic on that lady, okay? In Chicago. I don't know if you've seen the story or if you've seen the clip going around, but he makes a catch in the outfield, runs into the wall, hits the ground. And then this lady is laying into him. I'm talking laying into him. She was giving it to him. But she was, she was at an engagement party having fun, and she's a fan. She's doing what fans do. And this guy goes berserk. And what he said was not safe for work, okay? So I'm not going to repeat the words that he said. You can go look up the clip if you like. But you know what you said, sir. And yeah, that just let you know that rivalries are real, okay? They're still real. They're still alive and well in baseball, okay? Because that was a wild experience. He did get on the podium. He did apologize in what you expect him to do. He walked it back and said, this wasn't a good look for, kids watching baseball, yada, yada, yada. It still was funny. It still was funny. It still was funny. That dude was going crazy. Yo, he wild for that. Yo, Pete, you gotta chill, bro. It's a fan, man. They don't know no better, man. They're like, you guys feed them liquor, in these games, and it's the 8th inning, 9th inning. They've been drinking for 2 hours at this point. What do you expect? But he came and he apologized and he owned it. He manned up. But yeah, that was a funny incident. All right, 5 hottest teams in baseball: Tampa Bay Rays, Atlanta Braves, San Diego Padres, St. Louis Cardinals, Milwaukee Brewers. 5 of the coldest teams in baseball: Los Angeles Angels, Detroit Tigers, Houston Astros, Chicago Cubs, New York Mets. As we know, every week can change. You can be the coldest this week and the hottest next week. That's just how baseball goes at this time of year. Who's hitting the ball? Kyle Schwarber, 20 home runs right now. I mean, dude can't miss, all right? He's just a monster right now. Now, he did miss 2 consecutive games not too long ago, but those 2 games that he missed broke a streak that he played 225 straight games. Woo! And imagine, he just got hot. But he'll be back, and hopefully this doesn't stop the onslaught that he's been putting on the MLB so far this year. Yordan Alvarez for the Astros. Look, the Astros might not be playing good baseball, But this guy right here, he's smoking the ball right now. He has a 1.060 OPS, and pitchers are basically pitching around this guy at this point. So his on base percentage is through the roof. His walk rate is insane. Shout out to Braves pitcher Martin Perez. Career high 10 strikeouts, one game. Boys throwing that heat. When you're hot, you're hot. Huge news off the field. Major League Baseball and the Players Association have officially announced they're going international, baby. Yeah, MLB is going international. Next year, 2027, you have the Cleveland Guardians playing the Cincinnati Reds. They'll be playing in the United Kingdom. They'll be playing a 2-game series, basically bringing that Ohio Cup to London. All right, and I want to give a shout out to some of the new guys in baseball. Travis Bazzana, number 1 overall pick. The guy is a human highlight reel already. Tuesday night in Detroit, stepped into a box tied game, 2-run home run to take the lead. They go on to win that game. I mean, yo, this kid is built for the big lights. The Nationals are going with the youth movement. They're just like, yeah, we're all in on the youth. They wind up selling Dylan Cruz down. He was a former first rounder to bring up their top outfielder prospect and giving him a shot. This is going to be his 2026 debut. Let's see what he got, baby. And then let's talk about some injuries in the MLB because as we know, there's always injuries. Blake Snell left the game for LA. I mean, it turns out he has the same injury that Skubal had. It looks like they're going to opt for the same surgery that Skubal got as well. So hopefully he can be back in 6 to 8 weeks like him as well. So that's a little bit of good news on bad news, right? Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers as well was trying to come back, irritated his back. He'll be out for a little bit longer. No timetable on his return. Clay Holmes for the Mets. Bullpen disaster just getting worse. He's officially diagnosed with a fractured fibula. He's expected to miss up to 3 full months. Corey Seager, he was scratched this weekend with severe back spasms. Now, he obviously was going through something before this, and that's probably the reason why he just went ahead and get scratched because he was 4 for 42 in his last 42 at bats, okay? The dude was not hitting the ball, and that's probably a reason why. Jose Altuve. Now, Houston has not been playing well, and this is just adding insult to injury. He limped off the field against Texas the other day, and it turns out he might have an oblique strain. They're still waiting on the MRI results. Now, the Cardinals, they catch a massive break. Mason Wynn, their star shortstop rookie, he twisted his knee awkwardly on Tuesday night, but MRI came back completely clean, and so he's just day-to-day. And Gleyber Torres, he's been dealing with that oblique injury, and so they went ahead and talked to the manager. AJ Hinch gave an update. He says oblique is still barking. So no timetable on that return. Obliques can get kind of messy. I wouldn't know. I'm a Laker fan, and that's what Austin Reeves was just dealing with. He said Torres is not even ready to start a minor league game right now. So, yeah, that should be kind of worth noting. And that's a wrap. That's everything in baseball for you. I hope I didn't miss anything. And if I did, hey, I'm only human. And with that, we're on to the next, baby. We got to tennis. Finally got to tennis. All right, here we go. This week has been a mix of just a lot of BS. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to say it. Y'all need to stop talking about Sinner, bro. Look, Sinner beat Medvedev. And there was a rain delay where he may or may not have been cramping. And every time there's a delay or something with Sinner, the fans are really loud. They are convinced that this guy is doping. They are convinced that this guy is getting every break in the book. And you may be right, but I don't care. He's he's just that good. He's that good. And if he's doping and getting away with it, then maybe some of those guys should figure out what the hell he's doing and trying to do it too, because they literally test him a lot, a lot. And so for people to constantly keep saying that he's doping, even though he had that whole incident and it's been over and he's still winning ever since then. And he's winning at a higher rate now. And they're constantly still testing him. Yeah, you guys are just loud and wrong at this point. Shout out to Coco Gauff this week. She made the final. And she didn't win. She did lose in 3 sets to Svetlana. But what I want to say is that this is good for her. She has always been more comfortable on the hard court where her serve, her backhand, and her game just translate that much better. But you got to understand, she came in so young and she's still learning to play the game. And she's growing on the clay court. Making a final is huge for her. Even if it's just a warm up event, this says a lot about her game and how it's growing on the clay. And so, kudos to her for putting in that work, kind of disappearing for a little bit and coming back and playing some good tennis. I love to see it. But on the other side, Svetlana is balling. Yo, she looks so good on clay. She makes Swiatek look normal. And Swiatek was blowing through the competition. If you go look, she was like beating people, dropping 1-2 sets, 6-1, 6-1, 6-0, 6-1. She was running through the competition. And then Svetlana just ran through her like it was nothing, made it look easy. And for her to run through Swiatek and then Coco Gauff to give her a 3-setter, it lets you know how far Coco has come, but it also tells you how good Svetlana is playing. And look, I'm ready for Roland Garros. It's going to be so good. Hamburg just started. It's almost over. It's in round of 16. There's some matches today. And so, the last little warm-ups, the qualifiers have started for Roland Garros. So, look, man, clay championships, this is some of the best tennis you will watch. To me, Roland Garros is better than Wimbledon. It's better than the US Open. It's better than the Australian Open. It's better. It's just better. Clay is just the best tennis you will watch because it's not all about who hits the ball the hardest. It's not all about it's it's about who has the best overall game. Whoever can do everything on the court. If you can run, if you can hit some drop shots, if you can change angles, if you can paint the line, you got to be able to do everything, not just hit the ball hard to win in clay because this slows down a lot. So you got to be able to outsmart your opponent. And when you see people getting real strategic and not just how hard can I hit the ball, yeah, that's good tennis. So I'm looking forward to Roland Garros. It's going to be fun to watch. I love that it's early morning, and so you can, wake up. I wake up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, so I can catch early morning tennis. It's great. And with that being said, that's about it for tennis. You know what I mean? Next week, we're going to have a big update with the Roland Garros. I'm going to really be diving into some of the matches and how some of the things played out. But for the meantime, we're going to keep it simple, keep it brief, and move it on to the next. All right. Now, this next segment, I haven't really been doing this, but this is going to be everything else that's happening in sports that really doesn't fall into our categories, but I still wanted to just talk about, right? So below, I'm just going to touch on some topics, not really delve too deep into them, but just say this happened in sports too, okay? So Lionel Messi had a hat trick. That's it. That's the note. One of the greatest players in sports history did what he normally does, be great. So Michael Jordan went to go visit one of his high school coaches that was in a hospice. His coach wanted to speak to Jordan one last time, and he showed up. I know we talk about Jordan through the lens of championships and competitiveness and, that hard-nosed kind of guy, but this is pretty cool. This is a cool story, him showing up for a guy that showed up for him when he was a kid. The greatest basketball player that ever lived got a call from a guy that wanted to see him one last time, and he was running out of time. And he showed up. That's it. That's the story. Honestly, that matters more than most things that we talked about today. John Jones is attempting a comeback. Been there before, and we'll see how that goes. We know that John Jones is by far, in a way, the best pound for pound MMA fighter that ever existed. This guy literally was on taking guys out. Okay. I'm talking about straight full party the night before, wake up, come in, and just destroy guys. So that guy, yeah, he wants to fight again. Also, Ronda Rousey got in the ring and destroyed her opponent. She's back. I'm talking under 30 seconds, armbar. The girl said, "Look, if I didn't tap out, she was gonna break my arm," and I believe her. Ronda Rousey, she was him. she was him or her, whatever. I mean, she was her. So John Gruden's treatment of players has found his way back into the news cycle. Whatever attempt he is trying to make at coming back to any shape, form towards football, yeah, that just made it a lot harder. Okay. Yeah, they don't want him back at all. Hardy from Mizzou, he was shot. He's out the hospital. That's the most important part. He did say, "Look, we're going to be fighting. I'm going to be playing. I'm back at it." I'm like, okay. I'm a San Francisco 49er fan. So we had a guy, Pearsall, get shot and came back and played. Didn't play well for that season. So we'll see. Because PTSD is not nothing to play with. I'm dead serious. So I know a lot of times guys just try to push through and try to use football as a crutch, as something to lean on in these times. But I would say, dude, take care of your mental, all right? Because just jumping right back into football, just trying to pretend like you're right after being shot, you're not, bro. You don't got to play tough. Look, I'm 35 years old, man, and I'm pretty sure you're not over 21. Okay, dude, take care of your mental. Scatterbo from the Giants says he'll be ready for week 1. Don't count him out. Like I said earlier, I got the Giants making some noise this year. Okay, so they're gonna need him. They're gonna need him healthy. Jaden Duggar. Okay, this is a guy that I wrote down in my notes just to be like, talk about him. And I forgot to talk about him in the 49ers segment earlier. So I'll talk about him quickly right now. This is a guy whose relative athletic score is through the roof. And somebody that plays safety, but can also play like an outside linebacker, kind of hybrid mode. And if all things play right, he could be the guy stepping in when Greenlaw is done playing for the 49ers. He's one of those guys where it's like, just watch out for that guy. He's a raw talent. He's fast. He's strong. And he's tall. I think he's like 6'4". So, yeah, I just wanted to say that because I know I ragged on our draft and I was like, man, we kind of sucked. But I'm starting to come around to it a little bit. I'm starting to like some of these players as I'm doing some more research and learning who they are. Jalen Duggar, be on the lookout for that guy. Devon A-Chain gets an extension. Miami locks him up. Now, I know I did mention that earlier, but I figured, I mentioned it again because he's that electric, okay? And then Messi, hat trick. Yeah, and I know I mentioned that before as well, but that also deserved a second notice right there. And last but not least, we did have Morrow, a former NFL player that did pass away from a drug overdose. Guys, this is serious. This keeps happening. And so at this time, I want to give him his respect and give him a moment of silence. I don't want to go into the rest of the story. I just want to give him and his family the respect that they deserve and give him his moment of silence because we never know what he was going through that led him to believing that, that was the way out. All right. Oh, I got to add this in. This did not make the show, but as I'm editing right now, a breaking news story says that Aaron Rodgers says this is officially his last year. Aaron Rodgers says he will retire after this season. So the worst thing that could happen for him is he gets injured because obviously if he gets injured, that will be the last time we ever see him. So I hope that he finishes healthy so we can see him one last year. Let's see this 9-8 season, 10-7 at the best. First round exit in the playoffs. Send him on his way, baby. Happy retirement. All right. We made it through. We made it through. Let's take a second and actually sit with this week because it was a lot. The NBA closed 2 playoff series. Cleveland Cavaliers is in the conference finals for the first time without LeBron since 1992. San Antonio Spurs and Wemby have earned every bit of respect that I've withheld from them to this point. Anthony Edwards shook hands with his opponents and there was 8 minutes left in the game. And we all saw that. The NFL is not even in season yet, and they already have been hit with a subpoena. Quarterback storylines, off-field situations, and schedule drama filling every headline. MLB is 5 different competitive realities happening all simultaneously. The NL Central is still historically tight. Dodgers take back first place from the Padres. Hopefully they stay there. NHL went to Game 7 again. Montreal won again. Rookie goalie playing like a veteran. Front offices in the NHL are imploding, and there's massive restructuring going on across the entire NHL right now. Tennis has its best player winning again and again and again while people are just throwing accusations. Svetlana makes Swiatek look human. Coco developing right in front of our eyes. Antonio Brown is still crashing out. Ronda Rousey came back. John Jones is trying to come back. Messi scored 3 goals. And a man came to terms with his mortality by calling his old basketball player and asking him to come visit. That old basketball player, Michael Jordan. Did he show up? Yes, he did. Sports is never just sports, baby. It's people. It's careers. It's moments that last and moments that disappear. And this week had all of that wrapped into one. That's why this episode was so long. But I had to give it to y'all. That's what Just Your Average Podcast is. You didn't watch? I got you. You were working? I got you. Asleep by 8? I got you. Every Wednesday, same time, same place. Real quick, if you watched part 1 of my Patriots series on Sunday, shout out to you. I appreciate you. Part 2 is dropping this Sunday. Same time, same place. I want to keep on dropping those. I really like doing those. Those long form investigative pieces is kind of what I want this channel to eventually become as well, right? But I want to keep you guys informed. So for the people that just continuously living their lives and can't really watch every single game, don't worry. Just turn on this, listen, keep going about your day, because I got you. If you got something out of the day, like, subscribe, drop a comment, share it to somebody that doesn't get to watch sports like they used to. Every single share matters. I don't take not one of them for granted. Back next Wednesday with everything that happened this week. Stay up, stay locked in. I got you.